particularly for the final exam, and some nitty-gritty thing which people may miss, which they may not focus, right? Because remember, when we give a lecture and record a video, we try to cover as much as ground possible, because we do not know what exactly each student's requirements are there. Some of you may have done some good amount of theory and probability, so if some of the topics may look silly to you, whereas some of the people may not have done those things at all, so for them it may be very difficult. So we try to accommodate everybody. That does not mean that each and every topic that has to be focused with the same intensity, right? So I will highlight some of those which are crucial, and every one of you should pay attention to those topics and may practice at home like that. Before that, if any of you has any question, let us start with that. If any of you have any question, please raise your hand, and then one by one I can ask you to speak out. If possible, whenever you are asking a question, please make your camera on so that we can see and make it more realistic, right? Okay, I see good one. Vishal has raised his hand. Vishal, can you turn on your camera and speak so that everyone can understand, listen to you?
Yes, sir. Very good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Sir, very well. Sir,
Where are you
I
from?
have just a query about. Sir, I am from Ghaziabad.
Very good. Tell me your question.
Sir, I have just a query about to how can I install R software from R Studio in the Chromebook, because I am in college right now, and I don't have a system about for Windows, and I have a Chromebook, and I can't install the R in particular in that software.
Okay. If I understand, you are using Chromebook, you are operating that operating system, right? And
yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
you do not see any download option for R there. Have you been able to install R?
Yes, sir.
You have been able to install R. Okay, but you are not able to work on R Studio. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I am asking, have you been able to install the basic R?
Yes, sir. I can't install it in my laptop right now.
No, I
There is showing
understand.
some issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what I'm asking is, there are two
Yes,
things
sir.
to be installed. One is R and then R Studio.
So both of them.
Both of them. Okay. So I'm sorry, I cannot immediately have an answer because I never use a Chrome Studio. We primarily work on Linux and Windows, right? And in both cases, it works like charm. So can you do me a favor? Can you drop me an email, right? So that I know your email ID, and then I will inquire with somebody, right? And then they can get back to you, right? That will be a better option, right? And the second thing is, please do that, right? Drop me an email right now. You drop me an email, right? biplab@iitg.ac.in, or anywhere you can search my name and you will get it, right? You drop me an email so that I can get back. And I will also encourage you to see, there are very good R forum, R Studio forum, right? So have you posted the question there? In the R forum, any R forum, have you posted the question?
So you are not correctly audible, sir.
So what I'm asking, there are forums for R and R Studio, discussion forums on internet. Have you posted that question, same question to them? Okay, he may have some network issue. So fine, you send me the email, I'll try to sort it out. Fine. Thank you, Vishal. Is there any other question? Okay, if there is no more question, you can switch off your camera. I'll move to the other students. Shubhobroto.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
I can hear you, but I can't see you. Is there an option to? Yeah, I can see you. Where are you from?
So I am from Bardhaman, West Bengal.
Very good. Tell me, what is your query?
Sir, I am basically from biostatistic background. I am pursuing MSc in biostatistics. So,
Right.
I am. My query is this: is this course is appropriate for us?
Okay. When you say it is appropriate, what do you mean by that?
Because that is in your example, I think there is some biological term like genome sequencing and anything. I am not getting the point like that because I am from statistic background only.
Right. Right. Okay.
So so
Okay.
so from this point of view I am asking this question.
Okay. Not from your career perspective?
No, not my career perspective.
Okay, fine. See, uh, if you are from a statistics background, right, then
Yes.
what you have to understand clearly is that, see, data is data, number is number, right?
Yes.
Number is not a communal thing, it does not belong to a community, right?
Yes.
Whether the data is coming from economics or whether it is coming from biology or it is coming from Amazon's source, it does not matter, right? When the data lands up in your table, it is pure data, and the mathematics that you use also does not have any boundaries, right? And if you look into the biostatistics, see all the Fisher, the famous statistician, right? Fisher has worked throughout his life on biological problems. But he was not a biologist, right? He was not a biologist. He was a mathematician, moved to statistics, but he has whole life he has worked on biological problems, farming, essentially, botany problems, farming, right? So, from your perspective, I will say you are lucky. You are trained in basic statistics, but you have to, if you want to specialize on something, right? Then what you require, some amount of understanding of that subject is required. I will not expect that you will become a biologist tomorrow. No, you will remain a statistician, but you should be able to talk to biologists. It should not be like that. If I tell you, see, this is gene, then you scratch your hair. What is gene? Does it something to eat or does it something to do something else? It should not be situation like that, right? So what we call domain knowledge, some amount of domain knowledge is required. Otherwise, you will not be able to put yourself, right? Where the data will come from? Data will come from particular field. So if you want to work on economic aspects, suppose you want to work for a corporate world, you have to understand the economics and those jargons, right? If you do not understand those jargon, what mathematics will you apply? So what I will suggest you, see, if you look into the course, you may stumble upon some words for which you may not find a meaning, right? But believe me, that will not stop you to understand the mathematics that we are doing, right? Okay, so that means you will be able to score in the exam also.
Yes.
But I will strongly suggest you that if you have some friends in your college who studies biology, you should interact with them. You ask them this question that in this course, this fellow has talked of genome. What is genome? Can you explain me in 2 words? Or if you don't find anybody, you bombard me with question. I will be very happy to answer always. Post in forum. If you don't want to post in forum, if you are shy to post there, you write to me directly that I do not understand these words that you have said. What is the meaning of this? I will be very happy to explain. Fine. Does that clear your confusions?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Best of
So
luck for the rest of the course. Yeah. Anything else?
once again, sir, a very good afternoon.
Very good afternoon. See you. Okay. Then we have Shomojit.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
You are clearly audible. I will be very happy if I can see you.
Yes, sir.
That's great. Where are you from?
Sir. Very good afternoon, sir. I am from Durgapur, West Bengal.
Good to meet you.
Yes, sir. I am currently pursuing masters. I am in the first semester. I am studying MSc Biotechnology from Jawaharlal Nehru University, sir.
Okay.
So it is in online mode. So I am at home right now, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir. So I had a question, sir, that since I am in my first semester, so the rest of the syllabus of my course in JNU, it is the master's course is very much left. But what I analyzed from now on that I have a specific interest in population genetics, sir.
Okay.
In this course, sir, you are making us learn R programming, sir. So
Right.
is there any other programming language or any other dry computing thing should I also learn with this so that I may take up my research in population genetics?
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay. See, population genetics. What is your academic background before? Can you tell me?
Sir,
Apart from masters, now you have before that what you have done.
Yes, sir. I did my BSc Zoology from Banaras Hindu University, sir.
Okay. Okay. See, population genetics is a very old and enriched field, right? And in India, you have both. We have lots of stalwart in population genetics, actually, right? And
Yes.
many of them is in ISI Calcutta also, BHU. Many stalwarts we have, right? Now, when you talk of population genetics, there are two aspects in that you have to remember. One is the experimental thing, that when you design the experiment, where the sample should be collected, and suppose what type of genetic signature will measure. Do you go for particular loci, or you go for the whole genome thing, whatever, right? So there are signature things you check. The other thing which is very important in population genetics is actually mathematical models, right? For example, I don't know whether you know it or not, very recently, I think 2-3 weeks back, either in Nature and Science, a beautiful paper has come which has created a whole map of evolution, migration and evolution of human species, right? Very recently, which is creating lots of noise now, right? So if you look into that, that's essentially a mathematical model, right? So there are lots of different mathematical models there. If you ask me, I'm really honestly an ignorant person with respect to that, but I know there are lots of beautiful mathematical models. So if you want to contribute in that field, even if you are a person of experimental biology, you should have at least some knowledge about what type of mathematical models they make and what is the meaning of those. Yes. Right? So you have to understand that. I am not asking that you have to go and details of mathematics, but you have to understand the meaning of those things, right? Second thing is that many of those programs are actually, many softwares are there because they created software so that the people can use them. But otherwise, I know a couple of algorithms are in R where people use them R, right? So see, the issue is learning one programming language by heart, right, can actually help you to pick up any other programming language in future. Because all our programming languages have same structure. The question is, can you break down a problem in an algorithmic way or not? Do you understand how to break down the problem? Right? If you can break down the problem in logical structure, then whether you are using Python, C, R does not matter. Only the grammar changes. Right? For example, if I have to write a matrix, in C I have to write a matrix differently, in Python I have to write differently, in R I have to write differently. But I should be able to understand what is a matrix and when I have to use. Right? So if you are learning R, please learn it, practicing for many problems so that you get a whole idea that how actually computer programs works. Right? And if you can explain to your prospective employer in future that I know R, and if you can answer questions from there, they will be happy that depending upon their requirement, you can move to some other language also. Is it clear to you now?
Yes, sir. It was helpful, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, fine. Is there anybody else who has a question?
Yes, sir. Very good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, who is it?
Sir, yes, sir. I am Ajay Kumar.
Ajay, can you turn on your camera?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah, please. I can see you. Nice to meet you, Ajay.
Thank you. Sir, I am Ajay Kumar. Sir, currently I am pursuing my BTech degree, Biotechnology from NIT Jalandhar. And sir, a little question to you, sir. Sir, what are the future perspectives, sir, of studying this data analytics in biologist, the currently going, and the future of this in my career?
Okay. Okay, good question. I think this question must be there in the mind of many people, right?
Yes.
See, I will tell you one thing. First thing is specific for biology,
Yes.
right? And the second thing is generalized. Fine. First thing is in biology, see, biology is essentially experiment-driven science, isn't it? Whether it is you are doing academic research or you are working for a biopharma, it is material. It is not something abstraction. You need cells, you need molecules. Those are physical things, right?
Yes, sir.
So that means there are experiments, right? Now the problem, not problem, that the thing is that if you look into the modern biology, you will see, okay, we are intervening at molecular level, but more and more these things are becoming, mechanized. For example, when I used to do PhD, we used to do lots of things to isolate plasmid. Now in your lab, you just take one single column, put one solution to the cells, put it to the column, you have the pure plasmid, right? So slowly what will happen, all these things will become mechanized and robots will do the job. There will be some people to develop these assays, but eventually industry and academics will also learn by, mostly by automation, right? But one thing will become very important is the huge amount of data these experiments generate. Just think about the single cell sequencing that now we are doing in so cheap way. So huge amount of data is now getting generated. So to get meaning out of that, machine cannot do. Your human being is required to analyze that, right? And that is where actually the future prospects of data analysis in biology. You cannot escape data analysis and mathematics in biology in future. Biology will become more and more dependent upon mathematics and data analysis, right? So that is where if you are trained in this thing, you have a future perspective. I mean, you can advance well, right? Second thing is in generalized also, forget about biology. The whole economy is now driven by data, machine learning, as well as understanding the behavior of the economy and in society in terms of numbers, in terms of mathematical models. Whether you are running a bank or you are running Uber, it does not matter. Everything you require mathematical models and people to understand those, write those codes, analyze those, right? So if you, I will not say that this course will make you ready for that industry. What I am saying you, this course will prepare you that you can explore other options. So if you are going for interview for Uber will not bother about genome, but you can tell them, see, I can analyze a large data set coming from your customer base. Right, I can do classification of your customer because I have studied clustering and classification in this course. So you can talk to their language, you are ready for that. But obviously you have to learn some advanced techniques also.
Yes, sir.
So is it clear to you now?
For this, we have to start from basics, so that's why this helps.
See, if you want to really stick to data analysis thing, you have to actually to some extent improve your basic mathematical skills, right? That is why I have introduced the first 2 weeks on probability theory and linear algebra. If you want to make a career in data analysis, I will suggest you should thoroughly go beyond those 2 weeks course, but make yourself well acquainted with probability theory and linear algebra.
Okay, sir.
Right? And you are learning R. Learning a programming language, I think, will be easy for you. You can pick up, right? And then actually, that's what I'm saying. This course is giving you cues that if you want to make yourself ready for data analysis, what thing you should learn. So this will create your base based on which you have to build. This will not make you ready completely. You have to make yourself. Right? Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Very much clear, sir. Thank you for this.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who want to raise a question? Please raise your hand. Okay, Bharat, please go ahead. Hi, I can't hear you.
Hi sir, good afternoon sir.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Well sir.
Okay. Are you enjoying the course?
Yes sir, I'm enjoying it very well.
Very good. Can you please raise your question?
Yes sir. Sir, I have installed the basic R in my laptop sir.
Okay.
And I tried to install the packages, but I didn't find the India packages in it sir. How can I get that India packages?
Okay. If you are working on R, right? In
Yes,
R,
sir.
there is an option where you can go and select the download servers.
Okay sir.
Right? And you are in India does not mean you have to select Indian server.
Okay,
the whole idea is if you are in India, their server will perform better for you because their load is less, right?
Yes,
But if you go to the, I believe the first option there is something which actually do redirection. Depending upon the load, it actually redirects to a right one, right? So
yes,
what you have to do, the first thing you have to do is that in your R, you have to set that download server. So if you go there, there is an option, right? Have you,
yes, sir.
have you been able to do that?
To download the server.
Not download, I'm saying that fixing the download server.
Okay sir.
You do that first, right? And
Okay,
then you search for, you put the name and search for it, and then it should be able to download, right?
Okay sir.
And it becomes much more easier to do all these things if you install RStudio. Have you installed RStudio?
Yes sir.
So in RStudio also there is an installation option I have shown in the videos.
Okay sir,
right?
I'll go through it.
Right, so in RStudio, if you go to tools, I think, right? In tools, you will have install packages option,
Okay,
right?
sir. Okay,
so
sir.
in there, it will actually, the advantage is there is something called dependencies. Mean, suppose I have made a R package, new R
Okay.
package,
Okay.
and that uses some other older R packages, right? So
Okay,
when you will install my package, you have to install those packages also. Okay, otherwise it will not work.
yes sir.
So
Yes,
in
sir.
RStudio, you have the option that get by default tick that install the dependencies also. So automatically all things which are required for you will get installed, right?
Okay sir.
So
Okay
you
sir.
go to install packages option, right? So
Yes, sir.
in the RStudio, and there you search for the with the name of the package, you search for it, and you should be able to choose. I'll give me a minute. I'll show you a screen thing. Then it will be easier for you to understand. Right? Just give me a minute. I'll share the
Okay,
screen.
sir. Okay sir.
Can you see my R's?
Yes sir.
Okay, very good. Now, see, I go to these tools. Can you see tools? I have gone tools.
Yes sir.
Okay, from tools, now I go to install packages. I click on the first option is install packages.
Okay sir.
So I click and then it comes, see the install from. Means asking which repository you want to choose, right?
Okay. Okay sir.
I personally keep this repository CRAN. It actually, depending upon the load on the server, it changes, redirects me to something. I have not to bother about that. Otherwise, you can have other options here. And then here I search, type the name. For example, suppose I will search for GG plot 2. So it gives me option. So now I GG plot 2. And see there next one is where the library will be saved by default thing is there. And here you can see it is written as install dependencies. You keep that tick, right? That
Yes,
means
sir.
all dependent packages will also get installed. So if you click install, it will get automatically installed. Fine?
Okay sir.
You should be able to do that. It is a smooth, you should be able to do it, I believe now, right?
Okay sir.
Will it be helpful?
Sir?
Is it helpful?
Yes sir.
Okay, fine. Is there any other question?
Nothing sir.
Okay, then we'll move to the other person. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, sir.
Ritika, can you please speak, and if possible, can you switch on your camera? Hi. I couldn't hear you. Please unmute yourself.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Where are you from?
Sir, I'm from Uttar Pradesh.
Which place? That's a big place, the state, right?
Yes, sir. Sir, I have completed my MSc from Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gorakhpur University.
Good.
Sir, my R is not looking like your R. So it is like 32 BIT on upside, and
I can't hear you. We are losing you. Are you there, Ritika? I think we lost her. Is there anyone else who has a question? Please raise your hand. Yes, please. Srinivasan, go ahead.
Sir, I'm Abhirami from Tamil Nadu, sir.
Abhirami, hi Abhirami.
Sir, hi, sir.
I
I'm
can't
currently
see you. Is there an option to switch on your camera?
actually network here is quite
Okay,
unstable,
fine.
sir.
No problem. No problem. Fine. Carry on.
Okay, sir.
Ask the
So
question.
currently I'm pursuing second year in BTech Bioinformatics, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I have a general doubt. Nowadays, we are handling a large amount of data, not only in the biology field but all on the other fields also.
Right.
Data analysis helps us to handle such large amount of data, sir.
That's right. Please ask the question.
Yes. How does data analysis helps us to handle such large amount of data, sir? I mean, how it helps us to handle such data? How it
Okay.
is in what way it is helpful?
No, I got it. I hope I have got your question. Can you hear me? I think you have a network issue there.
Yes,
Okay.
sir, I can able.
So, see, the question is not of large data or small data sets, right? And the question is not whether it is biology related or some other place. You can have a sample size of 10 people for your study. You may collect data from your local grocery shop also to understand customer behavior also in small scales, right? So the question is not big, large data or something, right? If you have numbers, data collected from the field, then you have to analyze it to get meaning out of it. Otherwise, just a table or a plot has no meaning, right? So what you require, two things are required for any type of data is to visualize it and to extract a meaning out of it, a meaning which we can implement, use for something else. Now, large data has a problem is that it is, okay, so the first problem is how do you save that? Although we don't discuss that in our course, there will be issues that how to store and disseminate that data. But at the same time, the question immediately comes that as the dimension of the data become very big, our classical data visualization and data analysis technique does not work. There is something called curse of dimensionality, and I have not gone and discussed that in details, but you may look into it. The problem is as you increase the size of your dimension, you to analyze that data to make a model of that, you actually require further more data sets. Already you have a large data set, but actually that is not good enough because your dimension of the system problem is data is very big. So all these questions are there which cannot be handled by classical techniques that we have learned earlier. So now that's why all these new techniques like data clustering, data classification, these things has come. Dimension reduction, right? For example, the 8th week we will discuss a lot about dimension reduction of data. Those techniques has come. Those techniques are specifically developed just to handle this type of large data sets, right? So if I am learning data analysis, I should be able to handle both large data as well as small scale data also. That's why if you look into this course, we start with simple thing. For example, linear regression. Linear regression can be used if I have 4 data point also. At the same time, if I have 4,000 data point also, I can go for linear regression. But these are classical method of machine learning, model building. We need to know them and then step by step build upon. That's why we have designed the course this way. You are learning first linear regression, polynomial regression, then you are going for classification, clustering, and then dimension reduction. So you are covering all the scales. Is it clear to you now?
Yes, sir. It's clear, sir. And so far, I'm enjoying the learning here, sir.
That's
Thank you.
good. Please follow, keep on the videos. Many a time it happens, you know, when we are learning something new, we may not immediately understand something. But if you fail to understand some particular thing, that should not stop you from learning the other videos, right? So keep on learning, go back, revise them, and most importantly, if you have a query, post in the forum. If you are shy that you don't want to disclose that you are asking question or something in the forum, write me directly. You will get my email everywhere, right? On the web. So you write to me directly. I usually reply to email in a reasonable time frame, right? So I will try to answer and explain those things to you. Thus, please don't, one question that you don't know that should not become an obstacle for you to learn this course. Fine. Best of luck. Is there anyone else? Thenavan, can you please ask your question?
Good evening, sir. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I am able to hear you. It will be great if you can switch on your camera if possible, otherwise you can leave it.
Sir, I hope you are able to see me.
Now I can see you. Nice to see you.
Hello, sir.
Where are you from?
So, I am currently pursuing my master's in human genetics from Ramchandra University in Chennai, sir.
Okay, great.
So,
that's a very interesting field.
Yes, sir. So, I have an inclination and interest towards precision medicine. And by reviewing some literature, even precision medicine requires a lot of data.
Yes.
And that's what pulled me towards your course to understand all this data I needed. I wanted to learn the field. So, sir, there is one interesting topic that I wanted to ask you, which is not related to data analysis, but as you mentioned, something to do with biological privacy. So, as a eminent expert who has been in the field of biological data analysis, how do you see the importance of biological data privacy in this modern age, sir?
See, it is not just biological data privacy, right? I have botheration of privacy in respect to every issues that we have right now, right? I'll give an example in which many of the audience here will not agree with me possibly. For example, since every other time we meet a new person, we say, what's your WhatsApp number? We ask. You go to purchase something in a shop, they will ask your phone number, right? You are buying a pizza, they don't need your phone number, isn't it? They are supposed to simply take a pizza and give it to you. You are paying on for the cash. But the problem is, you look at it, many of us happily give the phone number, right? What we forget that we are becoming one data point in their model, isn't it? They will keep that track that what I am purchasing. It's not just that they will keep on sending me SMS, not just that. It has gone beyond that now. What they create a model by which they will track how I behave, how my family behaves, right? And not only that, they will sell that model to a third party maybe. So without knowing you, just you purchased a pizza and you became a commodity. You yourself became a commodity, right? So what you are asking is bioprivacy. Bioprivacy is one aspect of that, isn't it? But the problem is we ourselves are actually not taking that in as a whole privacy. We are not taking it seriously. Although in abroad and European communities, you will find it is very touchy issue. Even then, worldwide, I will explain that people are not conscious. We are not conscious about this issue. That where we are moving into, right? We are ourselves becoming, a data point and a commodity which people are minting money. Fine. So this is an important point, not just in bio privacy, in every sense of privacy. Fine. And I wish that every one of us get habituated with that. For example, forget our phone number. Think about the amount of what we say, CCTV cameras now we implement, put everywhere. Everywhere we are almost putting it. Tomorrow, as if it will put in my house also, right? And we are not objecting to that, right? So there is an issue of privacy everywhere. I think we have to be very careful. Interestingly, in case of data analysis, there are communities, there are scholars who are working on this privacy issue itself, right? Not just in biological privacy, biological data privacy. I don't know whether you know it or not. We have standard laws and regulation as per the guidelines in the country, ICMR guidelines. Whenever you do some sort of human volunteer study, you have to actually take their consent, and there are certain rule of anonymity maintenance and all these things. I cannot vouch that those are always followed properly. Nobody can vouch, but at least there are some regulation in place, right? But for other cases of privacy, actually, we do not have any regulation, right? You cannot stop asking people for your phone number or details, right? So at least in biomedical research in India, there are lots of still. I am not saying that may be sufficient or not. I cannot comment on that. I am not an expert on that. But there are certain amount of legal thing on the people who do experimental analysis that they have to follow certain thing. And many people I know they follow it religiously also, right? And there is a growing community. I do not know whether you know. There are some other earlier issue that. In one big tech giant, there was some trouble with some scholars who work for the tech giant who works on this privacy and at the same time what we call the racism and all these things in data analysis, right? So there are people who are working in the industry as well as in the academic community. But yes, these people are minority. We have to be much, every one of us has to be very careful about this privacy issue. Does that answer your question somehow?
Yes, sir. So may I ask another question?
Yeah, please.
Sir, what do you think are the applications of blockchain technology when it comes to biological data?
You have stumped me. Honestly speaking, I am not the right person to comment on that. Honestly speaking, right? It will be my audacity to comment on that, right? I will not. I have some opinion. Those are opinion, right? And I don't think I am educated enough to express that opinion on a public forum. If we meet sometime on a coffee, I may express my opinion, but not on I am not educated enough to express that in public forum on this particular topic.
Okay, so then I'll come to Guwahati to meet you.
Anytime.
Thank you very much.
So thank you, Tenaban. We'll move to the other question if somebody has. Ritika, do you still have a question, or you can please put down your?
Sir, I have.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, in R, sir, whenever I'm trying to install the R in my laptop, it is always it gets installed, but it is not opening. R Studio.
R Studio. R is working?
No, sir, not
native R, simple R. Downloaded from CRAN. Is the R working?
No, sir. Even CRAN, for CRAN, India is not clicked on zero cloud, and I don't know what is happening in my laptop. Something else is showing.
See, two things you have to remember here is that. See, I cannot comment because I do not know what the specification of your laptop, what condition it is, how much space you have, all these things, right? But for this course, R Studio is not essential. If you can have native R also, it should work. I'll show you the R screen whether to realize whether you can have installed the R or not. Give me a minute so that I can. So can you see this R window, RGUI?
Yes, sir.
So have you installed this R, the basic R, default R, so that then have you been able to open this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is opening.
Okay, okay. So then the first thing is that can you write something on R console like 2 plus 2 equal to 4? Do you get this type of thing there?
Okay, sir.
Is R working with you? That's why I'm asking. Is the R working in your computer? Okay, Ritika, your network is poor.
I'm not getting it.
Okay, okay. I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. Can you please hear me? Listen. See, do one thing. You drop me an email. You drop me an email with the screenshot, right? Please send me an email with a screenshot. I will ask some volunteer to help you. Fine. It may take some time because you may have to get instructions. We have to check out what type of system you are using. So please drop me an email. I'll ask a volunteer to interact with you and help you to do that. Fine.
Okay.
Will that work? So drop me an email so that I know your communication address, right? I do not have otherwise your communication address, right? So you drop me an email. I will ask some volunteer to help.
Okay.
Fine. Okay.
Okay, sir. I will drop. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Is there anyone else who has a question? Okay. If there is no more question, we have a few minutes left. Let me tell you something. We are not going into details of each of these lectures or something. In between, as I'm talking, if you have any query, please raise your hand. See, as I said, we have a mixed set of learners in this course, and we have made the videos to cover as much as ground we can do in this course. What I am going to tell you now is regarding the assignments and the exam. Many of you are preparing for the exam and you want to pass the exam properly, nicely, and get the certification. So please, what you have to do is that remember that we keep in mind that we have a mixed bag of learners. Some will have a very good understanding of mathematics and computing, some may not have it, right? So if you look into the assignment questions, you will realize that the questions are such that if you try to understand the content, even without going details into the mathematical analysis, you should be able to answer those questions, right? So if you are preparing for the assignment and the final exam, please pay attention to the concepts, right? And then try to think about problems which are easy to do in paper and pen. We are not going, there are a couple of questions I have seen in the forum where people have asked that what type of questions will be asked. See, we will not ask you question in exam which require lengthy mathematical analysis, derivation and all this. We will ask you something which one can do easily by the way if their idea is clear to them and they can actually do it by paper and pen with the simple calculator provided by the software, right? So you should not get bothered about lots of complicated things. Please get clear your ideas. For example, I'll give an example. In our course, we have taught you multiplication of matrices, right? The rules I have discussed. But if you look into the video also, I have given an example of 2 by 2 matrix, 2 columns, 2 rows. So if you are studying, what you have to focus on, okay, what is the rule of that multiplication? And then what is the condition that I have to make? The condition has to make is that the column of the number of columns in the first matrix must be equal to number of rows in the matrix, right? These ideas should be clear to you. And then you should be able to do the multiplication by paper and pen, because you don't need anything. You don't need a machine for 2x2 system. That you should be able to do. Now you should not bother, do I have to do a 10 by 10 matrix multiplication? No. No reasonable person will ask you to do that by hand, right? So when you are going through the videos, try to pay attention to these type of issues. What is the critical concept that one should learn? That you focus. Almost all videos has a last slide where key points has been discussed. In all these video lectures, during the discussion of key points, I am repeatedly pointing out certain things, certain keywords, certain topics, certain ideas. That means those are important and you should be clear about those, right? So as I was saying few minutes back also, if you cannot understand something, don't stop there. Move forward, watch the full video, move to the next video. You may require to come back to the original one again later on. But remember that it is a data analysis course for biologists. It is not a course for mathematicians. So we are not going to ask you very complicated mathematical questions or something like that. But you should be able to do basic mathematical operations which can be done by paper and pen, and which is expected from anybody in the field of data analysis. The other thing I will encourage actively for you, please learn R. If you are going to be in higher studies, it does not matter whether you are in biology or in physics or chemistry or math. Computation is part of every academic field. Similarly, industry also, computation has become part of every industry. So learning one language always helps. That does not mean you will become an expert in R in one day. No. Even people who work on R for 5 years may not be expert in that. But you know the basics of that, right? So that you can learn on job. So this course, we have all these lectures. And if you look into the portal, all the codes that I am using are uploaded. The data is uploaded. Practice it. And remember, unless you break your computer with a hammer, your computer will not go wrong if you write a wrong code. So the code that I have uploaded, I have used, edit them, change them. The code will not work. It will give wrong result. But you will learn how to write a code in R. So practice it, play with it, then it will be much easy. You will easily learn it. We all learned writing code in different languages by this playing. I'll see some code, I'll edit that, and it will not work. I have to think about it, why it is not working. I'll read somewhere why it is not working, and then try it. And it is a very addictive game. So you will also enjoy if you break and make it, right? So use the codes that I'm providing, make them, break them, use it for some other purpose, and see, you will also start loving the topic. Is there any question? Okay, it seems there is no more question till now. So we have 3-4 minutes left. Okay, as there is no more question, let me thank all the learners who have joined us today in this live session. This is our first live session, and I hope that we will have at least another live session. So we will interact and try to clear the doubts that you have. Usually from the NPTEL side, we usually provide you the Google Doc where you can post your question. You can post that. But the important thing is that please ask questions. Don't hold yourself, right? Ask questions here in the live session. Ask questions in forum. And as I said, if you don't want to ask in publicly, write emails to me. We do not mind receiving emails from students, right? I'll be very happy not just me, every teacher becomes very happy when they see questions, questions coming from the students. And remember, no question is a stupid question. It may seem silly question to you, but that question may give me something new to learn, something new to think, right? So your question can become very important for my learning and teaching also. So please post questions here in the live session in future, in the forum, as well as you write to me by email, right? Any questions you have related to this topic. Do not ask a question which is of a topic which is not in my capacity, right? I may not be able to answer this question, right? Okay, then thank you everyone. Have a nice day. See you in the next live session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.